Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by the Guillen Grid, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Gonzo here.
God fucking damn it.
It's Gonzo here. With me tonight is Justin Lee. And we are missing Slavko and Junior for tonight. I'm sure they'll join us shortly coming up here. But Justin, you were there for opening day. Go ahead and take it away, my friend.
Opening day was nice. I went with the R and Ray's Juke joint, Ray the Barber. Sat 157. Very fine people sitting in our section. Linked up in Lot B, seen Buzz on tap, a couple of the on tap guys. Unfortunately, Steve on tap was there. Matt Crawford, friend of the show, friend of Bad Guy Radio, linked up with him, had a couple brews, chopped it up. Opening day at the rate, it was exactly what you could imagine. Electric vibes. You could smell the onions and glizzies all in the parking lot. But Gonzo, I got breaking news.
What did I miss?
Real fucking breaking news. The White Sox got swept this weekend at the rate. Opening up my 2024 calendar with 3 piping L's. But then I got more breaking news. Corey Lee left the building this afternoon. Exit stage left for the first time this year. You people be hating on my cousin Corey Lee. Well, guess what? He put it on the board this afternoon, Gonzo.
He did. And he did it in perfect style because shortly before he hit that solo blast, the San Francisco Giants released Joey Bart, which blew up our friend Sean Anderson on CHGO Sox about the Sox acquiring or going after him to acquire him. So, Justin, I mean, should we consider that? I mean, considering we got Stassi and Lee already behind Maldonado, I mean, you are big on Patrick Bailey, but let's be honest about Joey Bart.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a clutter catching situation in Frisco. So Joey Bart was the odd man out, apparently. Large guy, pop in the bat, could throw a little bit. He just, at a certain point, the injuries has caught up, and he slid lower and lower in the depth chart. Perfect opportunity for the Southsiders to swoop in, and the Get's about to love this one because at a certain point, Gonzo, I know we're going to get into a recap of the series, but Paul DeYoung went deep too. And I think Joey Bart, Paul DeYoung, Corey Lee, they're all in the same grouping of your slug and your power is most beneficial to me. Now we're in a position to grow as a unit. This is a developmental year for the team. So any defensive issues he's got behind the plate, he could very well be cleaning them up with Stassi, with Maldonado, with Corey Lee, all in-house, being, glove first catchers.
Yeah, I mean, Edgar is starting in Double-A? Cuero?
Yeah, I don't expect to see him until next year.
I mean, at this point, I think you gotta give it something a shot, I mean, how excited are we gonna be about Corey Lee's solo blast? He's still splitting time with Stassi, and we haven't seen much of Stassi either.
Well, Stassi's hurt,
Yeah.
so it's just gonna be Machete and Corey. So,
Well, I
I
don't think it
mean,
really matters considering.
I don't think Joey Bart hurts the catcher's room. I don't think he moves a needle because he doesn't do anything exponentially better. I mean, yeah, he hits better than Maldonado, but is he as healthy as Corey Lee? Not really. I mean, he's basically, like I said, he's going to be Paul DeYoung as a backstop, and you got to be careful because if he hits a stint on the IL, then you're really screwed because now we have a problem.
Let's just hope Ochivo doesn't strike and Maldonado doesn't hit the IL because I mean, the pitching staff, the starters have been for those 3 games so far this weekend have been looking pretty good.
Hold on. You know what? Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Let's just get right into it, Gonzo. Thursday, opening day. Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, let's get to it because this is what we call Falls Grounds.
I don't have a problem making decisions. I don't have a problem making a call on a pitcher. I don't have a problem making a call on whatever our team needs at this particular moment.
And I want to bring this up here real quick because Robert,
Here we go.
He's
Here
right
we
on par
go.
with us. Am I the only one who finds
He's on
Pedro's
par with
bullpen
you. He's on par
usage
with you.
puzzling? And he's right on par because this is our segment of Falls Grounds. And if you're new to this segment, it's right after the name. All we're talking about is Pedro's decisions from each and every game we do. So yeah, let's just not even get into the game, the games yet, but just for off opening day, like you said, Justin, the fact that Pedro handed the ball to Garrett Crochet to be the opening day pitcher. Flat out, I mean, when he was drafted, I was huge into his potential of being in the rotation. And I know we talked about in the group chat that I was the one that was thinking that he could be right up there as as an ace potential, being 1-2 in the rotation, possibly behind Cease at the time. And then you went through the injuries, and then the organization went back and forth with their plans with Garrett Crochet, and it went to a point where, with how high I was on him before, I was frustrated because I felt for him like I didn't want them to rush him back because it seemed like they had no clue what their game plan was at the time. At the end of Hans Tencher, before Chris Getz came into the picture, so now that they were in spring training mentioning him being in the rotation, that was their plan of attack. I was kind of hesitant about it because I didn't know, if his body was ready for it yet. But hey, we all saw here what happened on opening day. He went, what was it, 6 innings, 8 strikeouts, no walks?
No walks, 5 hits, earned run on a damn sacrifice fly. Gonzo, I got we're gonna get into a little bit of fantasy at the end of the show, but I got a guy named Cole Reagans in my rotation. And Garrett Crochet looked like Cole Reagans Thursday afternoon. He was dotting the fastball, but more importantly, getting that slider to the back foot of right-handed batters was paramount. Some of those sliders broke off the plate to where he wasn't grabbing those strikes, but at the same time, when he needed to get the whiff, it was there. When he needed to grab a strike, 2-1 counts to get back into that bat. 0 walks. 87 pitches through 6 innings, Gonzo. That's very efficient, considering the fact that this is a reliever being stretched out in no man's land. First day on the job. Outstanding. It was just poetry in motion, especially the 2nd through 4th innings, where his control, started to come to him, and his command was at the top. Like
Yeah.
it was a masterpiece. You got to tip your cap to Garrett Crochet, because at the end of the day, no matter if it's Soroka as your number 2 and Fetty Wap as your number 3, what Crochet did on opening day would play for almost any Cy Young candidate in baseball. So don't disrespect him because of the name in the Chicago White Sox. What that young man did was outstanding.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want to say when I didn't get to watch the whole game, I was coming in and out due to work, but from the innings I saw of Crochet on the mound, I mean, he was locating his fastball on both sides of the plate. Saw a little bit of the changeup at times, but that slider, like you said, for me I thought the location was very similar to Chris Sale. How he was able to put that right into the dirt inside on the righties. Maybe not so much the movement that Sale had, but I think it'll get there. I think it'll get there.
Well, I mean, you got to think like Garrett Crochet is a little bit more traditional 3/4, where getting Chris Sale's movement, you almost got to drop his arm angle. Like
Yeah.
we wouldn't have to worry about doing that. I would much rather him stay over the top. His fastball stays true, and he can stay on top of the breaking ball to make sure that he could get the depth that he needs. Because the last thing you need is for him to be throwing fastball slider, and he's getting around the slider, getting more lateral movement instead of vertical movement, and he slides right into the barrel of right-handed batters instead of that I call it the top toe slider. You want them to foul that motherfucker right off that toe.
Yeah, I can't wait. So for me, it's especially I'll be more excited for when the summer comes and I can see him start to locate more usage of that changeup, low and away to those righties while he's bringing those sliders and fastballs in. We saw, I think it was Kopech, his first year, he was starting to burn out at 90 innings ish. So I'm really interested to see at what point this year Crochet is going to get to where that arm starts to get burned up a little bit. But I really have a feeling he's going to go over 100 innings this year for his first year. But for that first start, Justin, I think he was averaging like 97. And he was
and it wasn't it wasn't a chore to rear back and get the 97, 98. It was almost like he was meant to be. It was fluid. Like I was watching him very closely, because like when I see relievers get stretched out into starters, I want to see how many times you could repeat your mechanics. It's one thing to make 30 pitches and go through your windup in the stretch and break your arms for 30 pitches. But what about 60? Oh, now you got a 70. Oh, now you got runners on and you're at 75, 80 pitches. You know what I'm saying? Are you going to be able to maintain focus and repeat your mechanics? And he did. He did. No walks, Gonzo. No walks. A 2-pitch pitcher on opening day, no walks. Like, think about this, Gonzo, and I'm going to drop this fucking bomb right now on the Blackout Show. AJ Puck was a better reliever than Garrett Crochet last year. Look at how Puck struggled to start this year compared to Garrett Crochet. Look at it. Vastly different. 7 walks from Puck in 4 innings. Not as many strikeouts. Not repeatable mechanics. And this is a guy the Marlins factory deemed ready to be a starter. I bet you they wish they had Garrett Crochet instead of AJ Puck.
Yeah, no, you beat me to it, because I was just about to hit on that. No walks, especially for that being his first start since he was, at Tennessee. That's just remarkable. Again, Arnett, this is where I want to get into the nitty gritty here. Okay, the only flaw I had in that performance, which I'm not sure. I mean, it's probably not even on him, because I'm sure he's not the one calling the pitches. But when we go to that Javi, I forgot what inning it was. You can let me know how your memory is with it. But when Javi Baez was up to the plate and there's an 0-2 count, I think it was a changeup. He located it. It was right over the heart of the plate.
And he flipped it for the single.
Yeah. Like, why are we 0-2 and we put anything anywhere near the middle? the hard, like,
Gonzo,
if you're not going to waste a pitch, at least be hitting the corner, hit the paints.
you don't okay, you've pitched before. You don't understand that the changeup is a field pitch. Like no matter if it's the call or not, wherever it has to be, it takes a different type of dude on 0-2 to execute it, especially if it's his third pitch. Like that Javier Baez single in April won't be a Javier Baez single in August and September when he has more feel for it. You know what I'm saying? Like the only thing about it was it got too much of the plate. If it was a little bit lower, he swings right over the top and he taps it right to Garrett Crochet. We're out of the inning again. But since it was elevated, he was able to get enough loft to push it right over the infield for the single and shut the crowd up. Because I don't know if people knew that the in between frames, it was starting to build the histrionics between Javier Baez and the South Side. And it was getting a little rowdy in there. It was almost amazing how much pull Javier Baez has on the crowd just from fouling the ball away, just from making the third out in the field. Like, it's amazing to be in the yard when Javier Baez, the super antagonist of the Midwest, apparently, I thought it was Aaron Rodgers. Let White Sox fans tell it is Javier Baez.
Again, I was only listening to it. I get to watch it visually to see where the catcher was setting up. You know, the whole circumstances of that sequence, I didn't get to see visually. But you should at least be setting up side. And maybe he did. I don't know. I don't know where the catcher was. But it shouldn't be anywhere near that that part of the zone.
Yeah, I mean, even if he set up outside, like where the pitch landed, first of all, okay, let's just be honest. It wasn't a good changeup. It didn't have any arm side fade, anything like that. So instead of Javi flicking it off the end of the bat, it got enough barrel to where he could just, that push over the infield, Gonzo.
Well, that's where I'm at, because even if, again, at that, I don't remember the inning it was, but
I'm not gonna let you nitpick my pitchers on opening day.
How many, changeups do you throw at that point? At 0-2 count, I'm going either slider or fastball. If he hasn't thrown that changeup that much, where I would be worried.
I mean, if there's one guy to show it to, it would be Javier Baez.
It just comes to attack,
Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. There's just a single that turned into a run. Unfortunately, that was the 1-0 game right there. So was there anything else you want to touch up on, Crochet, before we?
Yeah, I'm disappointed in you nitpicking my pitcher. Let's just keep it a buck. If he would have threw a better changeup, he's out the inning. And then you're gonna spin it some way, gonna blame it on Grifol at the end of the season. We're gonna come right back to opening day. You're gonna say Grifol left him in for 87 pitches when he should have left him in for 86. I know how you act. I'm just getting ahead of this. Who did we have on Saturday? Was it Soroka?
But I'm not blaming Pedro for Crochet, anything had to do with Crochet on opening day. Because at the end of the day, Justin, what did I say? I said the only flaw I had of Crochet. I didn't even get to Pedro yet.
Come on, man. I'm not going to let you Rick Hahn me. I'm not going to let you Rick Hahn me.
We are moving over to Pedro here. Because that was the brightest part of opening day. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but it was Maldi was still in the lineup in the 8th inning, right? One of the worst hitters.
Oh my God!
And that part of the lineup, like we can't
you
go
said
to a pinch hitter.
You know what bright spot mean, right? You know what bright spot mean, right?
We ain't talking about bright spots, all right, or bright people. Yeah. So that as far as Pedro's mistakes in 3 games, game 1 is probably the least of the 3 for me. Yeah, it would have been nice to put a pinch hitter in there to see if you can get some momentum going. But at the end of the day, it really, I'm not going to get nitpicking everything about Maldi not being substituted for in the 8th.
I'm proud of you.
But let's go to the other 2 games, my friend.
Yeah.
Because in that second game, we're going to put Tim Hill out there in a leverage situation.
Come on, man. Come on, bro. See, and now I'm in a rock and a hard place because it's game 2 of the season, and Gonzo's trying to force me to be a Pedro Grifol apologist over bullpen. Like Tim Hill. Come on, bro. High leverage.
All right. This is going to be quite the sequence, man, because I've set this up really nice.
Oh my God.
Because all right, so he blows it, right? He blown. That was a blown save, right? Game 2. I think in the stat, I think on ESPN they had it as blown save.
No, it should have been a loss.
Maybe it was. So loss is on him, and then I saw a tweet by Merck. Merck asked, Pedro the question, and Pedro said, we don't have Dennis Erksley out here to close these games for us. I'm just strictly going off the matchups. So
that's just some bullshit.
All right. I'm just going to put that tweet there, Justin, okay? Because going into game 3 today, what happened? We had, was it Steven Wilson was holding us pat, and then Pedro goes right back to Tim Hill with one more. It was 1 out to go, right? And same thing happens.
The same thing happened. 2 singles.
So Steve gets the loss today because it was his runner, but Tim Hill also blew it again based off of the matchups. So, which the matchup was lefty on righty. I mean, if you want to get into the splits for me,
I'm not going to do that because this is not going to turn
not.
into a Pedro Grifol hit piece the first weekend of the season. I can't let you do that.
I hope you don't get into the splits, because even if the splits favored it, how could you overlook what the gut did of your previous decision from the game before?
What your gut did.
It wasn't even the gut decision. Both of these decisions were matchup on the splits. I'm assuming, and these matchups on the splits comes from an analytic department of 2 people. So you're just trying to distract me right now, but it almost worked. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna base off our decisions of analytical department of 2 people over the gut decision. You stop that shit right now. All right, Justin.
Bro,
come on, man.
My hands.
Come on. I'm this close to going nuts on Twitter right now. Okay.
Hold up a peace sign again.
Yep.
And you thought it was me. You're the one connecting with China, not me.
I'm disgusted. But yes, Robert, I'm with you, man. I'm going to bring it right back up again. You're not the only one, my friend. And Justin.
This is wild, bro.
I get it, Justin. The bullpen's shit, right? But
it is.
I can't go too hard because I didn't watch it visually for game 2 on those decisions. But for today, you saw, Wilson was getting outs. He was working. Things were going well for him.
He's better than Brian Shaw.
Okay. And this is where we're at, though. We go back to Tim Hill in that situation. That puzzled me. I think for me, at the end of the day, game 3 was the worst. As far as the bullpen handling goes. Just because of the escalation.
Let me ask you a question right now.
The escalation of the series.
Let me ask you a question. Go ahead. Who would you rather have in these games, Tim Hill or Aaron Bummer? That's what I thought.
But that's irrelevant.
No, it's not, because essentially you're choosing the White Sox organization made that decision for you. They would rather have Tim Hill in that situation, or if it's not Tim Hill, it would have been Aaron Bummer still. Gonzo.
But you're helping me out because at the end of the day, this is Chris Getz's decision.
How did we score yesterday? How did we score yesterday? How did we score yesterday?
Does it matter?
Yep.
No, it doesn't because we're 0-3.
It does. Because
we lost.
Aaron Bummer helped us score. Aaron Bummer helped us score yesterday.
You really are turning into the apologist.
No, I'm not. This has nothing to do with Grafal. This has everything to do with Chris Getz. Aaron Bummer helped the White Sox score yesterday. You know why? Because Brandon Shoemake hit his first home run of his career yesterday.
And that helped us lose a game by 1 run.
Come on, bro. All right, you know what? I wish I could fucking headbutt you. Just.
All right. So at the end of the day, Pedro is 0-3, 1 run situations.
Come on, bro.
Hey, if Junior was here right now, he'd be telling you managers matter. Managers matter, Justin.
Oh my God, they do. But I'm not blaming Pedro. Did the team compete this weekend?
Yes.
At every level of the game? Say yes.
Yeah.
Why are we blaming the manager if we could say yes to those questions in the first weekend of the season?
Because since the competition is there, you got to be better as a manager in those situations to seal the deal.
What could he have done?
We just went through it. Game 3, leave Wilson in there. I didn't see much of Game 2, so I'm not going to touch that. But Game 1, what could he have done? Again, we can go back to substituting Maldi out, giving you
We
a
were
better
a single away every game, Gonzo. A single
and every decision has its impact.
away.
Every decision has its impact.
Yeah, but come on, bro. The decision to put Brandon Shoemake in the lineup paid off. The decision to start Corey Lee pays off. These aren't decisions he has to make. These are decisions that he makes. So why do we criticize him when we could just have the glass half full and be like, oh, well, give these kids a try? Because there's no reason to give Corey Lee at bats besides the fact that he's in a jersey.
Because at the end of the day, what's the end verdict? Another loss. We just had a season of 100 losses.
I didn't see 100. I didn't see 100 loss team either day. Thursday, Saturday, nor today. I didn't see 100 loss team, Gonzo.
Okay, let's pull the positives out.
That's where I'm meeting you at. I didn't see a 100 loss team. I didn't. And for all the people out there that's listening, take the over on the Chicago White Sox. You've seen competition. Now, mind you, talent is the reason why we came up just a little bit short every day. I wouldn't say that's a managerial issue. Like, more talent would have probably gave us more than 1 run. If Moncada hustled a little bit more than just an isolated triple, we would have more than 1 run. The defense didn't shit us. The bullpen was, I mean, at the end of the day, when I asked for outs, it gave them to me, especially when Grafal went to David Garcia Thursday. The wheels could have came off, Gonzo, when he went to Garcia, but they didn't.
Garcia's looking good.
Man, ball jumping out of his hand. Looked like Octavio Dotel. You just gotta. I'm not gonna say cut the man some slack because he's still at this point right now. He's a bad manager, but I'm not saying he's managing poorly right now, and I can't hang the White Sox sweep I can't hang it on him.
I'm just here to tell you, you can't sweet talk me out of the potential
Nobody
of
sweet
being
talking.
2-1 instead of 0-3.
Got me looking like Shannon Sharp and you Skip Bayless. Shit.
Well, I want to ask the chat, give us your thoughts here. Because at the end of the day, I'm just at that point where I could care less about Pedro. Because if it was me, if I was a new GM, I would have canned his ass, started fresh. And even the guy that hired him should have been promoted to begin with. So, Justin, you tell me, my friend, where's your thoughts here at the end of this 3-game series?
Yeah.
Let's put our final thoughts here with the series.
I'm not real. I can't say I'm happy because we didn't come away with a win, but I am content with how the team competed. The starting pitching was outstanding. Especially, we got to give a shout out to Mike Soroka because he's really the only starting pitcher of the weekend that actually get, knocked around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And he bounced back, gave me 3 outs when I needed to. You know what I'm saying? Got the guys off the field. That's the shit that matters, Gonzo. Like Dominic Fletcher's defense out there. That's the shit that matters. Luis Robert actually being the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like Luis Robert runners in score position this year, Gonzo. Vastly different from last year. I know it's a small sample size, but it's the only fucking sample size I have. You feel me?
Mhm.
So at the end of this 3-game set, I'm like, okay, bring on Atlanta. Because now it's a bigger gap in talent from us and the Bravos. But this White Sox team, out of my mouth, is playing up to their talent. What if they play up to their talent against the Bravos? Like, that's where I'm at the end of the Tigers series. We got swept, but I'm intrigued, very intrigued, not disappointed.
Yeah, no, I mean, all right. I thought Detroit was gonna come out stronger from the jump. Because I'm gonna foreshadow this right now because I got high respect for Detroit right now. They came out sluggish. But like you said, we came out competing, and I didn't really expect that. So the fact that the starting pitching staff looks solid, the defense looks a whole lot better. If you want to say they're playing fast, okay, maybe they're playing fast. They're playing more aggressive finally, because we were told they were going to be more aggressive last year, but that didn't come true. But now that we've seen a little bit of a difference, I'll give them some credit here. But at the same time, these are all things that should be the standard. I can't give too much credit here because that I feel like any guy that you bring in that has experience, you're gonna get that out of the players at the MLB level. But that's yet to be seen. We're not there yet. We're just gonna have to keep watching this fast baseball, Justin. But at the moment, let's talk about some predictions because I think it's time for our season predictions.
Drop them.
All right, Justin, it's that time. We're gonna make some season predictions for the White Sox.
Okay.
You go first, my friend. Give us some bold predictions.
I got the White Sox going 73-89. Definitely taking an over. And I had them on a ceiling of about 70 wins. I think they could squeak out 73 with the brand of baseball that they're playing. So that's my bold prediction right now. Take the over. I'm being consistent on this, Gonzo. Take the over on the Chicago White Sox. That 70 just turned to 73 in my book.
I see them at 68 wins.
Well, because you're a pessimist and you're trying to put a hit piece out on my manager.
I think I had them at 68 to 72 before they trade Cease, and now that they trade Cease, I'm at 68 from what I'm seeing out of them. But when I mean bold predictions, I want some player predictions, Justin. Come on, man. Give me some bold predictions on players.
I still think Moncada's gonna have a plus 350 on base. Luis Robert might have a 40 plus 42 home run season. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Benny steals 25 bags this year.
Does he even have one yet?
Not yet.
Okay. 25. Okay. Where do you think his batting average is going to be this year?
Benintendi?
Yeah.
About 278.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to strike out a lot, but I still don't like where his power is to the point to where he's going to hit the ball over somebody's head enough to be effective.
Okay. I mean, he was dealing with that wrist injury last year, so let's hope that
he said he's feeling good too. Like that actually held him back, and he's not the type of guy to make any excuses.
Okay. All right, here's my bold predictions.
Give them to me.
Andrew Vaughn is going to have a career year. I got one better for you with Andrew Vaughn.
Please, before I fucking call corporate.
Okay, because I think he's going to hit 26.
Come on, man. Say 30. If I could say the White Sox are winning 73 wins, say Andrew Vaughn could hit 30 home runs.
Hold up. Here's my bold prediction. Ready for Andrew Vaughn? They trade him at the deadline.
You're goofy. You're a goofy human. You're a goofy human.
No, they trade him. He's gone.
Why?
Because they're in the rebuild. They need pieces, assets. He's one of the assets they have left. And I think they're going to trade him.
Are you that cooked on the White Sox season, bro?
I'm that cooked.
You're that cooked?
Yeah, I'm like this close to saying Robert too. But I'm not there yet.
Why? Robert has more trade value than Vaughn.
Correct, but I still think that Getz is going to set his anchors with Robert, with the control. And Caleb wants to add Caleb wants to add his piece. White Sox under 70 for a jersey. Yeah, I think that's directed at you, my friend.
That's not directed at me.
You're the one that's going over 70.
Caleb, if you want to get in contact with me, hit me up at bgr@icloud.com. Other than that, don't speak to me directly.
But yeah, no, I think because I think me and you are both on board that Robert should be traded.
Yes, should have been traded. Now I think you probably got to keep him if he's gonna hit 40 home runs. You keep him.
I'm not sure how bold this is, but
hey Gonzo, you know how to read.
Yeah. Why, Ray?
Because it's the truth. That's why.
No, because they're already
low key. You better be glad Junior and Slav ain't on this show, because if they hear you saying the White Sox trading Vaughn,
you don't think a team needs another bat?
The White Sox need another bat.
But they're getting rid of people. If they need another bat, why didn't they bring in a bat? Because we're getting rid of assets. We're restarting this rebuild. And you still got arbitration years left out of Vaughn. So that's why I think they're going to trade him. But I got another bold prediction for you. Because I just killed Justin with, with getting rid of Vaughn.
I'm literally in the Matrix right now.
But I think I'm sure Luis Robert is gonna be an all-star. But I think Garrett Crochet is gonna join him.
Garrett Crochet All-Star?
Garrett Crochet all-star. That's my second bold prediction. So
The only way he gets to the All-Star game is if Pedro Grifol makes good bullpen moves to get him decisions. Remember that.
Yep. But my two bold predictions: one, Vaughn has a career year, he gets traded at the deadline. Two, Garrett Crochet's at the All-Star game with Luis Robert Jr. That's all I got. I wish I had more bold predictions, but
You literally chastise me over my takes, and then you give me Vaughn's traded and Garrett Crochet's All-Star after you see him absolutely light up the Tigers.
yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got for you, my friend. When I said bold predictions, you gave me records, man. I don't want no record predictions. I want bold predictions of players.
Time out. The White Sox winning more games than advertised isn't a bold prediction?
No.
All right. Okay. Then
Oh.
why even ask me? You should have been like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and phoned a friend. We could have just look.
I would have
Watch this.
eliminated some choices for you.
I can leave the stream. Look, like your wish is my command. I'm dressed blue like a genie today.
Yeah, but no, I mean, at the end of the day, who cares between my 68 and your 72? That's 4 games at the end of the day. What's the difference of those 4 games when they're going to be last place anyways?
I don't think that either.
So where are the White Sox going to end? You know what? Great starting point, because now we're talking about division predictions. So Justin, where are the White Sox going to end up in the AL Central?
4th.
Thank you. So we just said last place.
No, it's 5 teams in the division.
Stop it. They're not going to be 4th. Who's going to be last? You going to say the Royals?
Yes.
How?
Because
Okay.
they're the only team in the division with worse talent than us. Vinny Pasquantino has yet to be healthier nor as productive as Andrew Vaughn. He's the second best hitter on the Royals team.
I think Junior, if he was here right now, he'd be saying something about Miguel Garcia,
who's a very good player, but he's not as good. He's not even on Andrew Benintendi's level.
But they got the superstar over there, Mr. Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah. I mean, but at a certain point, we got Luis Robert.
And they actually won a game. They beat. Where's Caleb's at? Where's Caleb?
Like I said, you asked me a question. I fucking
Caleb, they beat your Twins. Damn it! All right. Sorry about that. That was a little frustration from the Twinkies.
You didn't even have to pull them up. You
won
pulled up
what,
a comment
11?
that had my name in it just to bring somebody else into it.
They won what, 11-2 today? All right. So who cares about last place? All right, Justin, who do you have winning the division?
Minnesota.
You think they're going to repeat?
Yes.
Go ahead. Give me your reasoning, man. Give me a reason.
I don't think Bailey Ober is as bad as the stuff he displayed today. I think he's a really good starter. I think their rotation is good. When they get the Kukui back, Yohan Duran, They're going to be a load in that bullpen. They're going to get Royce Lewis back. He just went down. At a certain point, there's a big gap in talent from the Minnesota Twins and everybody else.
Okay.
Big gap across the board.
Even with losing some of the pitchings.
Yeah, but that's temporary. Like, that's a fix that, think about this. The pitching that they lost this offseason, they could add quick fixes at the deadline. Kirilloff, gone. Larnick, gone. Jeffers, gone. Emmanuel Rodriguez, gone. Prospects, like, they can wheel and deal. It's all dependent on where they need help. But they're a well-rounded team to where if there is some necessary improvements, they can have a direct avenue and a good idea on where they need to attack it.
Okay. Me personally, I think the Twins finished third in the division. You want to take a guess who I think is going to win the division, Justin?
Detroit.
Not this year. But I think they're on the rise. I'm just trying to stall here because I'm trying to tie in Junior's predictions here too with us, because I know he's with us in spirit. But
he acting like he passed away.
In my heart, he did, because I need his predictions. I need his predictions right now in person. Damn it! And I know he's watching Senior Drink right now as they're enjoying their nice Easter festivities, I should say. But me personally, I actually agree with OJ. I think the Guardians are going to take it this year. I really want to say Detroit is going to win the division, but I think they're a year away. I think they need another year of maturation from their young pitchers and hitters. They need Scooble. I like the thumbs up. Maybe it was me the whole time, Justin. Scooble, Reese Olson. I hate when that does that.
Well, maybe you need to use some different fingers.
All right. So, Scooble, Olson.
Just wanted you to see that.
Yeah, I know. It distracted me because I never said the Royals. Anyways. And when Manning comes up, because I think they're going to bring Manning up at some point, they need those pitchers to,
They got Bobursky too, and Joe too.
They got a really hell of a group of young guys coming up. But for the guys already there with Scooble and Olson, I think they're only gonna have great years this year, but they're gonna need that full season to mature at the big leagues. Not only that pitching staff, but those hitters too. Torkelson, Green, and Kerry Carpenter. Those three guys, they need a full season to mature in the big leagues too.
You're talking about three guys that, well, I don't think Torque went deep this weekend, but Carp and Riley went deep.
Yeah.
But you're talking about they need a year to mature. I think Riley Green is the second coming of Andre Ethier, and Spencer Torkelson is a perfected version of Phil Nevin. So, yeah. I mean, but to your point, Gonzo, that shit takes time to round into form. Like, it took a whole season for Torkelson to get his defense in order at first base. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took Riley Green, let's just say a half a year, because obviously he get hurt, but he had lumps and bruises and peaks and valleys in his production through a small sample size. So he's going to have to put some games underneath his belt to build his sample size up, get some fucking credibility underneath his belt. Because the projections and your ceiling only last so long. Riley Green's 23 right now. We could be looking in 5 years from now. He's 28 years old, and people are going to be talking about his ceiling. Not me. Not me. Not that ship will have sailed. Because then you get Riley Green in a situation to where he's Yohan Moncada, where you're thinking you're going to get 1 year, 2 years ago, every year. No.
And Gary Carpenter's another name that not a lot of people really know about, and he had a nice little second half breakout last year.
He's a softball player.
He's gonna, I think he's gonna be opening some eyes here shortly. But yeah, I think I have Detroit coming in second place. So I have Cleveland, which Cleveland's pitching staff, don't get me wrong, they gotta get healthy. Gavin Williams, Tristan McKenzie, those two guys.
Tanner Bybee was uncharacteristically wild yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. But I thought Logan Allen did great.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a solid performance.
Yeah, what about Bieber? Bieber's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, Bieber, he always does solid on opening day. And we all know the hitters over there in Cleveland as well. So between the hitters and the pitching staff, they got a good mix of youth and veterans that Detroit doesn't have as far as the veterans goes, controlling the boat. And that's why I feel like Cleveland's going to take it this year. Don't get me wrong though, OJ. Detroit's coming.
You said controlling the boat. What the fuck does that mean?
But Junior, I'm looking at you because them Detroit boys are coming for the division. I wish I can say the same for the White Sox, but that's not going to happen until probably 27 at the earliest with how this pace is going. But Justin, let's get we just wrapped up our predictions for the AL Central. Let's talk about baseball as a whole. I'm going to rattle off Ozzie Guillen Jr.'s predictions for baseball, and then I'll let you take it after him, and then I'll end it. So to begin, Junior had the White Sox at 67 and 95. I forgot to mention that prior. But his AL division winners are the Guardians, the Yankees, the Astros, and the Rangers. That's not really too shocking. But
wait, how the hell can you have two division winners in the West? Astros and Rangers.
That's a good point.
Yeah, see, you know what? Flawed. Very
so
flawed.
He says he put Astros first, so maybe the Rangers are a wild card team.
Yeah.
I think that's what he did. Yeah, I think that's what he did. Because so the NL predictions are Braves, Brewers. I'm gonna get back to that in a sec. Dodgers, Phillies. This man's from the Brewers. All right, I wish he was here. Brewers are winning the NL Central. His World Series matchup is Rangers and Braves. He didn't predict that one, but Rangers and Braves. So he's got the defending champs going up against the Braves. Obviously, for me, the most surprising pick was the Brewers winning the NL Central after trading away Burns. I was a little puzzled about that. You want to give your thoughts for those selections?
Well, I mean, I'm okay with them. I don't think the Rangers will be as good as they were last year. I got the Orioles slotting into OJ's wild card spot, with the Yankees winning the East. But other than that, I'm okay. I can see the Brewers winning the Central because of the brand of baseball that they play. If you look around the diamond, outside of Monasterio, Willie Adames, Bryce Terang, Christian Yelich, Blake Perkins, like Sam Freely. These are baseball guys. Like, they don't jump off the page with all of their power and how explosive they are. They jump off the page with sniffing out extra bases, sniffing out runs, sacrifice flies, productive ground outs. That 6-3 put out that drives in a run. They got an army of those guys. So you can see the Brewers scraping out a division. I don't got no gripe with that. Now, my division winners in the National League might be a little bit different than his. Do you want me to give like mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I got the Twinkies winning the Central, with the Yankees winning the East, and the Astros winning the West, with Baltimore and the Rangers being my wild card teams in American League. National League, I got the Cardinals winning the Central, the Phillies winning the East, and I have the Padres winning the West.
Got the
With the
Padres.
Dodgers and the Diamondbacks being the 2 wild card teams.
Tell me about your Padre prediction.
I think the Padres have found a group of guys to where they don't have to rely on talent to win. Look at the games they're winning. Obviously, they slugged their way to a W this afternoon, but the brand of baseball that they've been playing at the end of last year, going into spring training, and now this season, Ha-Seong Kim, Graham Pauley, Jackson Merrill has been playing with his hair on fire. You're not going to see it in the slash line, but he's been scoring runs, getting on base and scoring runs. You know what I'm saying? Luis Capuano, a guy that's been bailing them out with runners in scoring position. I think that's going to continue all year, and that brand of baseball travels. So when Fernando Tatis is having trouble getting on base and Manny Machado is out of the lineup, you can still have Ha-Seong Kim, Jackson Merrill, guys put innings together. Cronenworth has been a pleasant surprise at the start of this season so far. Like, those guys, not only are they versatile, but they're absolutely vital to a team in a division like the West, where you're going to have to be as healthy as you possibly can, be playing the best brand of baseball every day, no matter if you're playing against the Rockies, or if you're going down in the desert against Arizona, or you're over there in the Bay against San Francisco. Your brand of baseball is going to have to travel. And I think San Diego finally found a formula. It took them about 3.5 years, but I think they finally got that glued together to where Tatis and Machado could be the stars, and everybody else could just fill the voids. Fill the voids.
And I think Cease is the perfect arm to really compete in that division, considering what the Giants just did with signing Snell to that rotation.
Yeah.
Snell, Webb, Harrison. Who else did I forget?
Snell, Webb, Harrison. I think they got Jordan Hicks too. They added him in the rotation.
Yeah, who's the 5th one? Can't remember off the top of my head.
Is Alex Cobb healthy?
I can't
now
recall.
Now you got me thinking.
But I really think San Fran is going to be. I just wish they had a bat or two more. Because I really think that they could take the division.
Keaton Wynn. Keaton Wynn is the 5.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to go Guardians, Orioles, Astros. And I really think Seattle's going to make a push. At the end of the day, I think Seattle has the best.
They just dropped the series to the Red Sox.
Don't worry about that.
At home.
Don't worry about that.
They got outpitched by the Red Sox, bro. And you're saying they're going to make a push. Luis Castillo,
Yes.
Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby all got outpitched.
That's the beautiful game of baseball. sometimes your Red Sox
Nah,
get sneaky.
they get sneaky. Come on, bro.
They get sneaky
Come on, bro.
to
Don't do
open the
this, Gonzo.
season.
Gonzo, don't do this, bro.
I want to tell you, Justin, at the end of the year,
Come on, man.
Seattle's going to have the best rotation in the AL.
So, what does that mean?
I think they're going to be a wild card team.
No, because it's a big gap in offense.
We'll
Huge
just have
gap.
to see about that. We'll just have to see about that.
You're seeing it now. They got shut down by one of the worst pitching staffs in the American League.
Hey, you had some hell of performances, though. What's his name? Whittock? How do you say it? How do you say your boy with that cutter?
Oh, Cutter Crawford?
Yeah, Crawford. That was a surprising performance to open the season, I
No,
thought.
the best one was Nick Pivetta.
Well, yeah, but just in general, I thought Cutter Crawford, that performance shocked me a little bit for opening day. I didn't think it was going to be as great of a day that he had. But I still think at the end of the day, they're going to have the best rotation. Again, they're very similar to what I said with San Fran. I wish they had an extra bat or two in that lineup to balance out that roster. I think both of those teams, San Fran and Seattle, are putting together a hell of a roster, but they're still missing a couple pieces here to really get, take over those divisions. I mean, those are both of those divisions, the AL West and the NL West. Those are be probably the two best divisions in each league. Very competitive divisions with Astros, Rangers, Seattle, other side of it, Dodgers, Giants, Padres, Diamondbacks.
The Rockies aren't gonna be easy to fucking play every day either, because they got a really good defense, and they got some sneaky good OPS guys like Nojo, and fucking if Chris Bryant can stay healthy, that's huge. Ezekiel Tovar is a really good player.
Yep.
Obviously, McMahon's a good player.
Mm-hmm. But especially for going to Colorado and Denver to play those home games, for those away teams, tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
And with the talent they're putting together, becoming more difficult. But let me wrap up the NL side of it. I got Braves. Braves, Reds.
You a sick pig.
Dodgers.
With no Matt McClain.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to pull through. I think they're going to be a fun young team to watch this year. But yes, I think the Reds I think this is their year to take it. And Phillies. I like what you were saying with the Phillies. I agree with you. The only difference is I don't think they win the East. But as a wild card team, that's who I have going to the World Series. My prediction for the World Series is
same.
Baltimore Orioles versus the Philadelphia Phillies.
That'd be a hell of a World Series.
Yep.
One quick note on the Phillies. Mm-hmm. Bryson Stott is one of my favorite players in the whole game of baseball. Like the watching him play, from him in the batter's box to him playing defense, running the bases. Like, I can't get enough of the guy. I really love him. I just want to say that.
Yeah. So they're just a very tough team, and they've shown with their postseason performances the last 2 years. They have no quit. It's a tough environment to play in, and they just have the experience to get there and wreak havoc.
So Gonzo, you finally stepped up and became a man. You created a dynasty fantasy league for the Blackout Show, and you yourself join for the first time in your life a fantasy dynasty league. How was that experience for you? Tell us a little bit about your team.
Thank you, Justin, for getting us to our favorite segment, Southside Daily.
Wow.
And from now on, our Southside Daily segment, this is when we break down the weekly schedule each week.
We
but we're
need
gonna...
we need new graphics because Dylan Cease doesn't fucking pitch for us anymore.
Sadly, we do. That is also true. I'm gonna have to work on that, Justin. But we're incorporating our fantasy baseball league into this portion of the segment because we're going to talk about not only the White Sox schedule, but the schedule for fantasy coming up here. And to answer your question, I was kind of at a point after that draft where I'm looking at my roster and all the mock drafts that I did, there's like a couple people I had that I would get, but I saw a lot of faces that I never thought would be there. And it really changed the game for me when I was in the draft and seeing how the flow was going. Right off the get-go. Well, before I even get to that, I had a whole watch list of players, and I totally forgot that when the draft hits, that it wipes off the watch list and you have to go by the queue instead. So I was kind of puzzled at my own mistake going into that draft because I totally forgot about, the ADP of some of these guys that I was really kind of targeting at points. And when the draft was going on, I got lost in that world. So I was kind of just going best player available, Justin. Right from the get-go, though, I was really basing my lineup, at least for the position players, off of slash lines. But I really wanted a higher contact hitter because I kind of feel with contact there comes power. And I walked into that because if you look at my rotation, I'll bring it, or my rotation. Let me pull up my roster real quick. I could kind of reveal to you how this kind of came about. But obviously I knew Acuna and Rodriguez were probably going to go 1-2. So I wanted to get Bobby Witt Jr. Start at shortstop. So right off of that, there goes the contact, the power there, and the speed. And when it came down to that snake side of it, I never thought Alvarez would drop to me at that point. And I just had to pull the trigger on Alvarez, even though Devers was on the board, and I was really considering Devers as a part of that setup that I had. But with Alvarez there, I fired. And then on the swing side of that, I was really targeting Albies, and I was so happy that he was there at that.
Yeah, Devers went right before you took Albies.
Yeah. It was going to be one of those two. For me, it was going to be Devers or Albies. And when Albies was there, I fired at him. And that was my three picks, first three picks with Albies and Alvarez, and then there was a huge gap in between that. And then there was a huge pitching. I think it was the fourth round coming back to me. All the pitchers were going off the board, so I was really targeting Logan Webb for his ERA, WHIP, and quality starts because the quality starts was category for us. So I wanted to make sure that he was my ace for mostly for the quality starts and the WHIP side of that. So I went with Webb, and then think I went hitting after that. Yeah, I went with, I think it was Bergman. Yeah, I think it was Bergman at that point. Torkelson later, and Diaz. Because I got my whole infield lined up how I wanted it. Torkelson, I was kind of surprised he was still there when I was picking at that. I think it was like in the 9th or 11th ish.
Nah, it's the 9th round.
Was it the 9th? Yeah. So he was kind of actually on par, but I was just surprised that he was still there at that point. So I completed the infield with him, and then it wrapped around. I need that second pitcher at that point, because I realized I need another ace in there, and I was actually surprised Snell was still on the board at that point. So I took Snell, and when it came back to me again, I wanted that third arm for the same reason. I know he's 35, but I wanted Merrick Kelly to be my 1, 2, 3 there with Webb, Snell, and Kelly. Part of me wanted a different number 2 guy than I just don't like having the same division for
What do you mean?
For like a good portion of my like staff, just because of how much they face each other.
Yeah, but come on,
But
bro.
at the same time,
Why would you even pick Merrill Kelly in the first place?
For the same reason with the quality starts in the whip with those categories.
Man.
So, and I knew at that point, once I saw him as my 3, that I would have to put a little bit more emphasis on my minor league draft with the age. But I knew for the short term, I loved it for the short term, especially when I saw later, I think these were like mid-teens when I saw Sango was still there because of the injury. I'm like, this is a perfect shot to cover me on that side of it a little bit. So I grabbed Sanga and Erod in those middle selections. But strength, I liked the hitters with the power contact. I mean, I might have been flawed. My 2 flaws would have been slightly lack of speed. I felt like I probably could have done better on the speed component.
Yeah, that's what I built my team around, actually.
Yeah.
Just speed and power.
But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? That's only one category for me on the hitting side of it. And I still feel like I'm competitive with the couple speed guys that I got where I should be. I feel like that could swing back and forth by the week, the weekly matchups.
Yeah, well, we don't get penalized for Ks, and we don't get penalized for Ks or rewarded by walks. So you only get fucking credit for what you put in play, and that's kind of like going in the draft. I just wanted to get as many athletes that put the ball in play as possible. So, Zach Geloff, Gunnar Henderson, Fernando Tatis, Francisco Lindor, uh, Jamer Candelario, Yainer Diaz. Like, these are guys that aren't going to necessarily walk a ton, but they're going to put the ball in play enough to where I'm going to get credit for whatever they do. And I'm not going to get penalized for any lack of contact. And on the starting pitcher side, it's just since our scoring is so unique and pitchers don't really, get penalized for walks and home runs, I can just look for whiff merchants. So my rotation at the top is Cole Reagans and Jesus Luzardo, 2 top left-handed strikeout artists. And at my 3, I have Brian Bayo or Tanner Bybee, depending on where you want to go with that type of conversation. I just wanted to have the bulk of my rotation be able to miss a bat. Now, my bullpen, I think, is where the strength of my team is, because I got three closers at this point, in Uribe, Munoz, and Hader, all prolific fastball with merchants. So anytime they get in the game, they're going to expect to miss some bats.
Yeah, for me, that the second part. So the first one was speed, but the second part was I really was kind of hoping I would get a more solidified second relief pitcher, someone more like I guess more valuable than like Seawald, who would be my 2. And originally, when I was mocking my drafts, I was getting a second one probably in like the 7th or 8th round. But I would have been eyeballing like, you know, Munez or Hensley, but at the same time, I needed an outfielder at that range during the draft with how the outfielders were going. So that's why I took I think it was Josh Lowe instead of that more significant, you know, more valuable relief pitcher. And on the bounce back, I was able to snatch Seawald right before he was probably going to go. But then Seawald got injured. So I was actually happy towards, you know, in later rounds that I end up getting both Suarez from the Padres and Harvey on the Nationals. Going forward, I feel like Harvey will end up, you know, grabbing that spot with Finnegan.
Shit, I can't believe like I'll be appearing and reappearing like Zordon from Power Rangers. But I got Hader was the first closer I got, and then like I mentioned Munoz, I got him 7 rounds later in the 11th.
Mhm.
Like in this league, having a guy that's not only is going to be healthy, but he's going to be able to keep he's a whip buffer, because you're not going to have as many starting pitchers as deeper leagues. So you're going to need closers that are going to be able to work 50-hour work weeks sometimes. And with Gabe Spire being his only, you know, setup guy, I think Munoz is going to be primed for an extra workload. He's going to have to put out some more fires in the 8th, which is great because that's an extra strikeout, an extra batter put away for your team in totality. Look at what Josh Hader's two inning situations right now. You know, so you just got to find some resources within your team.
Right. Yeah, and I think that was actually the probably the only snipe you had on me, because I was eyeing Munoz as he was rounding.
You should have took him.
No. Like it was coming, it was snaking around.
Oh.
He was there, and I'm watching him go pick by pick as it was coming to me. And I think you were like 2 or 3 picks away, and like you got him. God, that's the arm. I'm like, I think when I was doing the mock drafts, I'm like, you know, if I get Munoz as a 2, as a, you know, that second reliever, I was, you know, my relief pitcher 2 on the roster, I was like, man, I would have a solid pitching staff.
And what do you think I got him for? The second reliever.
The second reliever, yeah. You just beat me on that, because that was like that same time though that I think Randy, oh gosh, I'm a butcher. Oh fuck, what's the last name again? I'm tweaking right now.
Raisel Iglesias?
No, Randy Arizona or fuck.
Rosarena?
Rosarena, yeah, sorry, I'm tired. Randy Rosarena. He fell in our draft, and he was still on the board at that point. So it was between those two when they were coming around that I'm like, you know, I got to see which one falls to me. And they both went, I think they both won that round within those last 3 picks. I'm pretty sure Juan took them right before me. You took Munez. I'm pretty sure Juan took a Rosarena.
No, so, Josh Foote had a Rosarena round 8. Juan had Riley Green.
Yeah, I just remember people you know, those were the 2 names I was looking at. I just missed it. I missed it, but I don't think I would change at the end of the day as much as I would want Munoz. Like I was really happy I had Josh Lowe as my second outfielder. Because it was getting more scarce at that point for outfield with value. So I was happy I got Josh, and then I was happy I was able to bounce back with Suarez and Harvey.
Yeah. How do you feel about your minor leagues?
Great question, because I was very worried knowing that I had, I think it was the 9th pick of the minors. And I was just taking best prospect available at that point. And when James Wood fell to me, I snagged him. And then, like I said, Justin, I thought I loved my 1-2 in the outfield with Alvarez and Lowe. But after that, with my third outfielder and my utility guys, I wanted more. I don't have the greatest value at that point with what I got. Besides Diaz with my utility guy, I really wanted to put emphasis on the outfield when I was going to the minors. So when I grabbed Wood right off the bat on the swing of it, I think that was the 15th pick around. I eyeballed Spencer Jones and I'm like, that's my guy. I need to have him. I know I wasn't going to get him on the 16 picks later. So I went with Wood Jones. And then I got two hitters, 2 position players. So I'm like, you know what? I got to get my guy on the other side of it, on the pitching side. Because I know, I know Merrick Kelly is going to, he's 35. So somewhat the short term, but in the long term, I need to get an arm to replace him. And I went with Noah Schultz. That was the guy I targeted. And then I couldn't stop there, though. With me with pitching, I need to have a little bit more of a higher percentage. So I went with both Lauder and Petty. I think one of those 2 guys.
Chase Petty's really good pick out of Cincinnati. I like him.
Yeah. I knew between Lauder and him, one of those guys have to not only hit, but hit the leagues, strong. I think between those 2, because Cincinnati right now, they don't. I mean, you can say what you want about Green and Lodelfio, but they need more. They got all the hitters, but to really win that division, they're going to need the pitching side of it. So I really hope that they don't rush these guys, but when they do bring them up, that they're in a position to succeed, and I think they will be. But after Lauder and Petty, I went back to the offensive side of it, and I was able to grab the second baseman I really wanted, Jace Young. I saw the strong spring performance that he had. He was one of the breakout players, and I was glad that he was still on the board, and I took him. And then after that, I went back to pitching. I think I grabbed Jack Leiter.
Yeah,
no,
I actually.
Is your Leiter or
leagues.
Selvage? But I was really huge on Leiter in college. I wanted to get him. And Selvage, I saw he had as an undrafted guy, he had a really huge breakout with the Yankees, and I was glad I was able to get him. And then I just want to end on this, Justin. Actually, there's 2 names. I haven't seen too much of the first baseman from the Padres, Martarola. He was kind of just
Mortarella.
Mortarella. I haven't seen too much of him. He was just, I'll be honest, he was just one of those flyers. I was looking at the scouting report real quick, and the first baseman that were left, I just went with him. But the guy that I was really hoping to get was Drew Jones. At that point in the draft, I saw his name, and I'm like, I really hope OJ doesn't grab him. OJ, I think, went to bed at that point, so I ended up taking him. And that catcher, Lorenzo, there's been a lot of hype out of the Dodgers farm system about him over Rushing and Carteret. So we got 1 or 2 Dodgers fans in our league, so I was really thrilled that I think both of them were at auto pick at that point. So I was able to snag him as a catching prospect. But I I actually did draft Lawler. He was in the majors, not the minor league draft. So I was glad. I needed a shortstop, or at that point in the draft, I was looking for upside utility guy. And once I feel like once that hand heals and he comes back with the Diamondbacks, he's gonna be a good, a good guy to have in that lineup.
Absolutely.
But I actually, Justin, overall, I really liked the minor league side of it. I was surprised with what I came away with. But I think Dan Evans told us, I think he said I think it's 40%, 30 to 40% of prospects make it. So we'll see. I mean, I like, from the prospects I have, I'm sure my odds are good for that number. So
Yeah, me personally, I came away with Xavier Isaac and Dylan Cruz are the two guys that I really like. Then a major league draft, I wanted to make sure that I keep first base
you said who?
as open as huh?
You said who? You cut out there.
Xavier Isaac and
Oh,
Dylan
yeah.
Cruz. I want to keep first base as open as possible for Xavier. So I got Isak Paredes and Jamer Candelario, guys that I could just move just in case, or keep flexible spots open. And at a certain point with Dylan Cruz, it's only a matter of time. I think he's a better hitter than James Wood in totality. James Wood just got better physical tools. I really like what I came away. And a sneaky good pick that I had was Kevin Alcantara in the Cubs system. Like, it's my dream. I don't want to say this because it's a White Sox podcast, but my dream is for the Cubs to have Kevin Alcantara and Christopher Morel in the same lineup in 2025. That should be the end goal. I want to have that on my fantasy team.
Alcantara's looking good right now.
Kevin.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. So I told you the majors. Munoz was the one that I felt like you got me on. But in the minor league draft, Xavier Isaac, he was the one that I was looking at.
A beast.
And when you got him, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, that's a good pick. But what pick was that for you?
That was my second round. Because I was
Okay.
going BPA for probably about 80% of the night, and I was texting Caleb some of the picks that I had written in. So the only ones that I really handpicked were Xavier Isaac, and I think that's it. Xavier Isaac, and probably I got lucky with Cruz. I think Colt Keith was my last one.
Right.
And yeah. But all in all, like, I'm excited for this year for fantasy baseball and White Sox baseball as well, Gonzo.
Yeah, no, bro. This is gonna be our league's gonna be very competitive. I think I put together a great group of guys. Added here. I don't know the people that you don't know. I'm just saying the guys that I invited. I felt like I were a very competitive group.
They're all victims.
But I think that's enough for now for our Blackout Fantasy Baseball League. I started with that one. Well, that's just too long of a name for me at the moment. But Justin, we're gonna wrap it up with the White Sox schedule on the other side of this segment. Our next show is gonna be Wednesday, Justin. So we got 3 games to cover here, going into our next series here at home versus the Atlanta Braves. Tomorrow, Flexen versus Morton. Tuesday is looking like it's going to be Crochet versus our old friend Reynaldo Lopez. And on Wednesday, player to be named versus Spencer Strider. You can either move up Soroka. I know we weren't going to go down that route. I would love for them because we saw Leisure, Justin. We saw Leisure make the roster, so I would love for them to bring up Nick Nastrini. He had a hell of a spring. He deserved to make the roster. I understood the opening weekend. They gave us a couple extra arms in the bullpen to muster through it. I think this is the time to bring him up and see what he has.
Yeah,
Hell of a test.
I was gonna say you seen what Pittsburgh did with Jared Jones.
Yeah, let's see it. I know the stuff is, on the analytical side of it, I wouldn't compare Nastrini with Jared Jones, but at the same time, like you said, on the competitive standpoint of the game, give the kid a shot to prove himself. I thought he had a hell of a spring, better than I was actually anticipating. And you know how big I was on Nastrini. I wanted him to get a start at the end of last year to see, get his feet wet in the majors. But because I thought he was ready even back then, with where he was with the Dodgers prospects, the guys that were. I think Pepe was the one that was right in front of him in their farm system. Ryan got the call, and then he was about to be next, and then they traded him right at that point at the deadline there, because Ryan got that start right before the deadline, and they were losing arms left and right. So I thought Nastrini would have been called up. And I think he was right in front of actually Gavin Stone that's pitching tonight, if I remember right. So I really love how we fleeced them on that deal for Lynn, and we were able to get Leisure and Nastrini, and I'm very thrilled that we have a shot to see him this year and see what he has. But I hope that Nastrini gets, starts here shortly. We'll see what happens. I know it's going to be a tough matchup because Strider is another beast of his own. But Justin, are we going to go 0 for 6, bro?
No. I feel like this is a good opportunity for the White Sox to continue to play up to their competition. We're lacking in talent, but you got the most talented roster in the National League rolling into town. You have no choice but to bring your lumber and your leather. I feel sorry for Spencer Strider because this will continue a tour of him getting bludgeoned and beaten by Rob Manfred's league. He will lose to the Chicago White Sox Wednesday. You want some hot takes? Let's slam the door shut with that. The Chicago White Sox will beat Spencer Strider on Wednesday at the rate.
Wow. I'll be betting the over for the strikeouts with Spencer, but hey, at the end of the day, I don't have Spencer in fantasy, so if the Sox beat him, I'm all for it. It doesn't fit my agenda with Spencer Strider because both me and you loved him coming up. But we need a win, damn it. I want to see 0 and 6.
You won't.
Okay, Justin. I'm going to hold you to that. But Justin, I think that wraps it up for this opening series, for the opening weekend here versus the Tigers. We covered the next opponent with the Braves. We talked fantasy baseball. Justin, I think it's time for some shout outs here. I'll let you lead us off with comments from the chat. You want to shout out anyone or Asia?
Well, yeah, shout out. First of all, how the fuck are you going to bring up the people I'm going to shout out? Don't suggest who I'm going to shout out. Just ask me to do it.
Sorry, Asia. I'm sorry.
I'm not giving Asia a shout out this show. I do want to give a shout out to Ray. Ray the Barber was in the comments tonight. Rob, Caleb, everybody. Scumbags was in the comments tonight. I want to give a shout out to the people I work with in my day job. I will not name them, but I will say we're having a dinner to celebrate all of your hard work and dedication to the company Monday. So thank you for having that, MJ. Appreciate you. Had to give you a shout out because you've been working your tail off ever since you joined us at 2585. So got to give you a shout out on that front. And also want to give a shout out to the Boston Red Sox pitching staff. Since you want to just kill my shout outs, Gonzo, I'm going to shout out another team on the show. Kudos to you, Nick Pavetta, Cutter Crawford, Brian Bayo. You did an outstanding job going to the Pacific Northwest and making sure that I don't get my yellow ass embarrassed on the TL. So thank you.
I'm sorry I stole your people from you, Justin.
You didn't. You
Is
just
there any-
suggested who I shouted out.
Is there any suggestions you have for me for my shoutouts?
No.
No, okay. I thought you were going to, give suggestions for our fantasy baseball victims.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll start off by shouting out my one and only Soraya, who is so gracious to be distracting the dogs right now so they're not barking up a storm, because you know how the dogs like to bark over here, Justin. They always love to speak their minds more so than me. But my girl is the best. There's one important shout out as well I want to give. His name is Brian Nowak. You have no clue who this is, but he was for me, he was the high school teacher that really propelled my confidence with, at the end of high school, you just don't know what you really want to do. And I think it was that part of the time where I made my decision. He gave me that confidence that I made the right decision for myself. I only bring this up because Justin, I'm coming home in May, and I'm like, man, I haven't seen this guy since before I got out here. Before COVID, I saw him. I'm like, what? I'm gonna send him an email. Reach out to him, try to plan something, and right away the email was rejected. And I was like, well, maybe I missed that he retired, possibly. And I googled to see where he went in the school district. I wasn't seeing anything, no news really on Google. So I'm like, well, this just sucks. So I would reach out to another, he was in the science department. So reach out to another science teacher, and she's like, well, Chris, I'm sorry to tell you this. I don't really want to be the one to tell you this, but he passed away during COVID. They gave him the option to stay at home. He took it, and he passed away in the middle of the night. Again, not the way I wanted to hear it, with where my mindset was with wanting to plan to see him again. But at the end of the day, with the last conversation I had with them, I was grateful for even how our last conversation was. I don't regret the conversation that we had for it being the last conversation. He was really huge for the community. Big impacts for my life at that point at that stage of my life during my young adolescence, and really big Bears fan. So hopefully this upcoming draft is the next new era for the Bears and better things to come. So Mr. Nowak, this is for you. I'm giving you a shout out here at the end of the night. And that's going to wrap it for me, Justin. Let's really hope here that I don't have to go crazy again on Griffol's grounds.
You will.
Here short. But Justin, Sox are 0-3. I need to fix some of these graphics on these segments because I totally forgot to change the.
Why don't you just Photoshop David Garcia's face on Dylan Cease's body and just take the easy way out?
Just take these. Oh, that's going to be quite the homework assignment for me because I'm terrible with technology. But hopefully next episode. No, that's not going to be Wednesday. It's going to be probably the week after. I'm going to have a new. Don't worry, guys. I'll get this fixed. You're going to have our new ace probably in the segment.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Gonzo was finna give us. We're trying to wrap up the fucking show, and Gonzo was gonna give us a spiel on how he couldn't fix the video. Now all of a sudden he has an opportunity to push an agenda. Now he has a way to fix the video. It's perfect.
It fits the agenda, bro. And
It's like
least but
Teddy
not
Long
least,
setting somebody up to fight the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
on that note, you're gonna have a southpaw on the new graphics to come.
I knew it,
Justin,
bro.
Justin, thanks for joining me tonight on
Press the red
our opening week. Everyone, thank you for
Wow.
watching The Blackout.
We used to be a country.